Hello, everyone. Hello. That was like boarding a plane in 2015 at Kennedy Airport. That was where the ticket machine didn't work, and maybe the flight attendants went home early, and the airport was closed, and everyone was hungry. That's what that looked like. So we were originally a little bit delayed because we wanted to make sure that there was a technical issue that was troubling with some of our performers tonight, which will be well worth having had the wait for. You're going to hear from me a little bit later, but I just wanted to officially welcome you to the 2015 World Technology Awards. Keep eating. Thanks.
Good evening. I'm about to introduce director, composer Kenji Williams, who will play an invocation for this evening to set the tone to a beautiful high vibration for everybody, and then introduce chairman and founder of the World Technology Network, a great friend of mine, someone who I respect tremendously, Jim Clark. So here's Kenji Williams.
Predominantly blue background and very, very beautiful.
Welcome again. I'm going to make some traditional opening remarks in an award ceremony in a moment, but I just decided on a whim to read a poem. This poem is called Already and Always. What if I told you nothing was as it seems, as everything that was, is, and will be, already and always is? What if I told you you don't need light to see, as everything was already and always illuminated? What if I told you you don't need energy to travel, as you have already and always been there? What if I told you you don't need to search for love, as love has already and always found you? What if I told you that you are never alone, as everyone is already and always together? What if I told you that nothing I am telling you is not something you already and always have known? Take a smooth pebble in your hand and hold it this way and that, and turn it over, and then again the other way around. Study closely the surface of that stone and see the roughness you at first missed, and then move in closer. Climb its mountain ranges and explore its deepest valleys until you can no longer see the sky. Then go closer. Peer at the molecular bonds that make a stone, and then watch the atoms of rock fly in formation as a flock of birds, and go closer. Sense distances at that tiny scale so vast that an interstellar journey would be as an inch to the mile of these new horizons. And appreciate an endless sea of galaxies, of particles and waves and sparks and quarks in a universe without end, all of it in that little grain gripped within your hand, in a desert made of 1 trillion grains ground to dust, each one a dream. In the beginning there was no beginning. At the end there will be no end. In between the end that won't and the beginning that didn't, infinity is exploring every potential, and you are it. Patience is no virtue in a timeless existence, and impatience is a meaningless sentiment when everything is. Yet being in your beingness, in our beingness, in the beingness of the now that was, is, and will be, is the opportunity of a lifetime, by definition, to enjoy the calm and present joy of self-awareness. Try to imagine a burning temple made of yearning, regret, hope, and above all else of love. Try to recall the nuance of the flame, expressing every color that could be a color, shading into infinite gradations. Allow your mind to contemplate that dance of choreographed heat and chaos, in motion and not, forever and never. Celebrate the desire to experience ourselves in the exquisite music of the danger of this déjà vu, sung with the unforgettable lyrics of life we forget long before we can remember. A life that is but our lust for life, that pulse-pounding, heart-beating monument to eternity and impermanence. You cannot mourn the loss of a temple made to illustrate the temporary nature of the temporary nature of our temporary nature. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, already and always. I wrote that 2 years ago in the desert as people celebrated and mourned those that had been lost during the previous year. As I said, they mourned and celebrated. We all have a lust for life. We all are timeless in the larger sense. And we feel that when we have gatherings like we have this evening. We yearn to feel there is deep meaning in our existence, deep purpose in the choices we make and the places we place our effort, deep significance in the people we choose to spend time with and the relationships we choose to nurture. That is what we are doing tonight. With that, I will now switch into award MC mode. Thank you. The World Technology Network, the host for you this evening, is an organization I founded over 15 years ago with the goal in mind to identify those creating the 21st century, primarily through science and technology, and to create a global community of those people, and to help them create serendipitous relationships with each other. The motto of the World Technology Network is encouraging serendipity. You can ask, how can you encourage something that is accidental by its very nature? But all innovators know that you can. The people who are in this room, amongst the world's most extraordinary innovators, consistently tell me stories of the role of serendipity in their lives. They are passionate and obsessive about a goal, like many people, but they have this other thing paired with it, which is they have an open mind. Therefore, they do not prejudge from where significance will come. And by living that way, they make more innovation, they make more discoveries, they have greater insights more frequently. That is something that I think is a common trait in those who make change and create the future. That's what we're devoted to. The way it works is we have this annual awards program. Not because the world needs another awards program. It doesn't, although this is fun. The reason we did it is we wanted a vetting mechanism for the membership of this network. So the way it works is we have 20 different categories, and in 10 of those categories we have both corporate and individual awards. And it's not just the tech fields, IT hardware and software and communications technology and biotech and health and medicine and energy and materials and space, but all the sorts of related fields that are part of the ecosystem. Arts, design, ethics, policy, law, marketing, social entrepreneurship. We ask our members every year, our fellows, to make nominations of who they think is doing the work of the greatest likely long-term significance in their field. We also do our own research, and sometimes people reach out to us themselves. We then gather information of all of them, then we go back to the fellows, and the fellows, in a virtuous cycle, are the winners and finalists from previous years. There are now 1,000 fellows in over 40 countries, spread out over these 20 categories. And we show them the new nominees for that year, and then they vote their preferences. And the top preferences each year become the new finalists, who become the new fellows. And at this award ceremony, we announce the winners of those award categories. But the network's already been built through that process. The awards every year happen at the end of a 2-day event called the World Technology Summit. Many of you were with us both or one of the last 2 days. At that summit, we bring these people together and others, again, to try to encourage serendipity. But one way we do that is we have many of the finalists come and talk about their work, and their work is mind-blowing. Almost after every single presentation the last 2 days, I said some remarks, but usually prefaced by the word wow. I mean, that's all you can say in when being exposed to the work. It's mind-blowing. It's inspiring. And everyone went through blood, sweat, and tears to be able to achieve the great thing that they talk about and that they're still working about and that they're willing to devote way more blood, sweat, and tears in the future about. At the summit over the last 2 days, not only did we have finalists and other speakers, some of whom are speakers are here tonight who aren't finalists, many of the finalists who are here tonight and many other finalists are here tonight. A significant percentage of the total of all the finalists from all over the world are here in this room tonight. Every year when I'm in this room for the awards ceremony, I'm reminded, I may get the quote wrong, but John Kennedy, when he was in the White House, he had a dinner, the first big dinner for all the Nobel Prize laureates. And he said that it was the greatest single gathering of intelligence that had ever been in the White House, except with the exception of when Thomas Jefferson dined alone. This is like that. Almost Thomas Jefferson level. We also showed a film last night here. It was a special preview screening of what is going to be unveiled on December 2nd as the largest global television event yet, viewable by 2.5 billion people. The Discovery Channel and all their channels are showing a film on December 2nd called Racing Extinction, ostensibly about the trade in endangered species, but ultimately about the fact that we are undergoing, possibly right now on this planet, the 6th great extinction. 50% of all species gone in the last 50 years. Hundreds a day, possibly. If you put life on Earth into a 24-hour clock, humanity would appear a few seconds before midnight. The modern world, less than a second. And this period we're undergoing right now, let's say in the last century, this science and technology revolution period that's increasing exponentially, would be a fraction of that last second. This is new territory for life. This is new territory for life on Earth and death on Earth. We are miracles of creation and destruction. And if you wanted to be born in an interesting time and live in an interesting time and help direct an interesting time, you sure picked the right time. So that's also why we're here. I argue that in the next 20 to 30 years, we're going to have more change in human civilization than the last 2,000 to 3,000. A lot of that will be driven by science and technology. We are getting to the ability to get to the elemental levels of information, of matter, and increasingly of biology and life itself. Being able to make and remake whatever we can think of, which is a lot. This is a unique time. We have been given extraordinary powers. And as has been said, when you are given extraordinary powers, you can either, I'm paraphrasing now and making up my own version of this, you can either be a jerk or a mega historical level asshole with all that power, which we know humans can do. People do choose that route. Or you can accept the responsibility that comes with it and try to make things better. And in this room are people who have been blessed with incredible talents and power and possibility. We have an obligation that it would be shameful or worse to ignore. That's also why we're in this room. I argue that not only is our current civilization politically and environmentally unsustainable, others have said that, but I believe when you look at the level of things that we tolerate year after year, even with our efforts with philanthropy and etc., to tinker with these things at the margin, that our civilization, if you really look at what we tolerate year after year, is morally indefensible. Period. Morally indefensible. If I didn't have the ability that we all have to compartmentalize my passions and reactions to the things that I know that exist in the world, I wouldn't, like some people can't, get out of bed in the morning. And yet I do, not only because I can compartmentalize like we all can do, but because of people like you. We've all had those experiences when you're like, God, when I think about the state of things today, I really don't know if I should just throw in the towel and just admit a kind of despair. And then we meet a person who doesn't give up, who is trying to make things better, who's doing incredibly innovative work, and we sense their passion, and we know that they're privy to the same information we have, and they do get up in the morning, and they keep pursuing that dream, and we are re-inspired and reinvigorated and recommitted to our own dreams. That's another reason we're here today. I'm not saying this stuff to give you some kind of slap-in-the-face reality check. I'm saying it for the opposite reason. Reality is doing a fine job at that itself. But reality is filled with incredible possibility and opportunity and inspiration. Again, look around this room. I would trust this group of people to try to save the planet more than most anyone else. Except, which is an attitude I hope we all have, other than myself. That's what we should all get up in the morning for. To trust ourselves. To think maybe each one of us could be the piece of the puzzle, the extra little bit of effort. And not only in ways that we'll ever take credit for or will ever know, but just the inspiration that you can cause other people simply by knowing that you don't give up, simply by knowing that you're trying to make things better, simply by knowing that you actually have a vision for what better might look like. Last year I gave a talk where I talked about how we choose what to do. I think it comes down to two things. And you have to do both of these at the same time. One, you ask yourself, what do I believe is right? Belief and right are very subjective terms. And we know a lot of bad stuff has happened in history when people take those two terms and they're rigid about them. But if you ask yourself, what do I believe is right in an open-minded way, and at the same time you ask yourself, what do I think is necessary? And you pair the answers to those things together, not only will you be an authentic person, not experiencing shame within yourself that no one else might know about because you know the gap between what you really think should be happening and how you behave has been narrowed, perhaps to zero. If you multiply that person by person across an entire society, you get a courageous civilization. And boy, do we need one right now. Imagine that the world is around a river. We're on this side of the river. And that's the place we're comfortable with. And a lot of bad stuff is going on there, a lot of good stuff. But let's say you accept to some degree my premise that the world is on an unsustainable and morally indefensible path. Then you have in the middle this rushing river, which is change and the currents of history. On the other side is this mask and fog, and that's the future. Our job is to convince people that there are stepping stones across to the other side with our innovations, with our experiments, and also to paint a picture and envision a better future. That is the only way that people leave where they are, when they no longer trust the devil they know versus a new possibility. That's also our obligation. That's also why you're here tonight. And with that, I would like to begin the ceremony, if that's okay with you. The first category is the arts. The finalists are here, and the winner is Marcus Neustetter.
Thank you very much. What a lovely surprise. I really appreciate it. Just been asked to say a few words about my work, so I'll keep it shorter than I did last time. It's interesting to me that I'm awarded this, mainly because a lot of my work has to do with questioning the role of technology in today's society and the role of the sciences and what the sciences are doing in relation to a lot of the kind of disempowered communities that live around these scientific pursuits. I live in South Africa, I'm born and bred in Johannesburg, and I see the context of my country changing radically through quite a difficult political time that we've had in the past, and an equally difficult time in trying to catch up with the legacy of what was created of the past. And so a lot of work revolves around how the common thread between the technological pursuits, the scientific kind of investigations, and the artistic mixing it all up is a way of trying to change that society. And I'm hoping that through my artistic voice, through my collaboration, and this is a very, very important part, through my facilitation, collaboration with others, I can try and make that change. And so I guess in summary, my journey is one which I call a vertical gaze, one that looks up in the past using astronomers and astrophysicists and to help me think about that light that reaches us and looks away from us at the same time, and working with the archaeologists looking down into the past as well, sweeping away layers of history that reveal something about our own heritage and history, and asking ourselves, where do we live in this very thin slither of now, and how are we in this very thin slither of now going to make a difference in our existence on this world? So the relationship with the sciences and the relationship with a network like you, which I'm so grateful to have met the last 2 days and to be part of from now on, is one that is actually a way of defining what that now is and how we can try and change the now, so that the future that these sciences and the technologists and that the artists are aspiring to can actually look better than what it might look like in some of the doomsday films and stories that we've heard in the last few days, with the aspiration and inspiration of those that are working together. So in a summary, I guess my work is about trying to cross those boundaries, and I found an amazing platform to do it with. So I really, really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Next category is health and medicine corporate. These are the finalists, and the winner is. Whoops. That is very embarrassing. The winner, the co-winners are council, and the other name that is supposed to appear on there is Analytic. Okay. You can both come up, but you can't speak at the mic at the same time.
Such an honor to be recognized in a room of people who are so inspiring. I've spent the last 2 days just being completely blown away by what people are doing. So thank you for including us in this. Just briefly, Council is a health technology company, and we run a DNA testing lab, and we're really looking for finding diseases in advance so that people can use that information to improve health outcomes. So thank you so much. This really means a lot to us, and I'm accepting this on behalf of the whole team because, of course, innovation is a team effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I represent Analytic, and I'd written a few words, but in the last 10 minutes I tried to put them in iambic pentameter after that very interesting piece of poetry. I'm actually accepting this award for Jeremy Howard, who is actually in San Francisco tonight. He's got a very brand new baby daughter, and he's also closing his Series B round. So he called. I'm an advisor and an investor in the company, and he asked, since I was in New York, if I could come and represent Analytic here at this wonderful meeting. And we want to thank the nominating committee. Analytic is a company using deep learning to focus on improving healthcare through understanding imaging. If you have any, if you've watched what's going on in machine learning and artificial intelligence, deep learning is a wonderful sort of technique that was invented many years ago, but it's kind of come back in vogue as we've decreased the cost of computer hardware. And Analytic is very much focused on trying to enable the 4 billion people who do not have access to modern diagnostics to be able to sort of have access to some of these technologies that we in the first world take for granted. And so Jeremy asked me personally to thank everyone, especially the nominating committee. We're again very humbled and grateful. And we're very excited to be part of this sort of new effort around healthcare and using AI and machine learning and reasoning to sort of advance what we're attempting to do in areas like cancer. And we're very excited to be part of this focus in deep learning. A number of entrepreneurs, a number of folks who are starting companies, working across a number of different areas of software and computers are actually working in this space. So again, thank you very much. And again, Jeremy and the whole Analytic team, thank you very much for this award.
Thank you. I'm dreading if the slides are complete. The next slide is policy, and the finalists are, guess who's not here? And the winner is Stuart Russell.
So what can I say? I can only assume that Pope Francis withdrew his nomination because he's a very modest fellow. I would vote for him because of his incredible impact on the current dialogue on the climate. So the issue of policy in artificial intelligence is something that has been continuing a discussion that began outside the field. And the degree to which the field has continued its technological progress with almost no attention paid to the consequences has been a little bit surprising. But that tide is changing. And if there's anything that this award recognizes, it's just that I told people within the field what people outside the field were saying and said, by the way, what those guys are saying is right. So I thank Jim and the selection committee very much, and also Wendell for nominating me. Thank you.
The next category, IT software individual. The finalists are, and the winner is Ashutosh Saxena.
this is awesome. I represent the area of AI and machine learning, where I think this award is for building robots that can do smart things in the world. I build robots that work for humans. So I take ideas from people. Stuart Russell is one of my great motivators on what can we do for humans so that their life quality can improve. For example, a robot can help improve the quality of life for patients in nursing homes. A car could make driving safer. But this is extremely challenging because AI systems have to be built the right way, in the sense that they not only do the right thing, but they can handle the variety of situations. So in the future, I look forward to increasing the impact of AI and machine learning into the real world systems. Thank you.
Thank you. The next category is media and journalism. These are the finalists. And the winner is Wendell Wallach.
Well, I'm actually a bit surprised by this. Margaret Atwood actually had my vote on this year. And it's not because she was the most famous of the group of people up there, but I was actually at a biotechnical conference in Atlanta this summer, and Margaret Atwood danced circles around Steven Pinker by being very quiet and very humorous, but she just stole the show. And it was, for any of you who know Steven Pinker, that was really quite a remarkable feat. But this is the second year I have been here now, 2 years in a row, and the one thing I really want to say is how much I appreciate what Jim is doing in trying to knit a community out of those of us in technology, because I think much of our work is so isolating, and oftentimes you do lose sight of the fact that you are part of a much broader community of people who truly are trying to make this a better world to live in. So thank you very much.
The next category is education. The finalists are, and the winner is Ramona Pearson. Hi, Ramona.
Hi, I'm so sorry I'm not able to be there today. I have been traveling all over the world and just landed home here in the United States again. So I'm really humbled and grateful for this opportunity to receive this award. And like the others, I am also surprised that I had received this. You know, when I think about my life and the journey to get here, I had begun my life in the Marine Corps writing algorithms, and unbeknownst to me, I ended up getting hit by a drunk driver that set me on the course to where I am today. So I spent about 10, almost 11 years as a blind person and had the good fortune to have landed in a senior citizens home when the hospital gave up on me, and was lucky enough to have about 100 grandparents that had nothing except for focus on me. So they were able to bring me back to myself by personalizing learning and introducing me to the power of personalized learning. The great opportunity that I had through learning from these folks was understanding the power of crowdsourcing and the power of the community of being able to solve big real-world problems. And I was one of those big problems that landed on their doorstep. The other thing that I learned from that ultimately helped us build machine learning and deep learning into our platform was receiving a guide dog. And that may sound weird, but having a seeing eye dog helped me realize the power that top-down and bottom-up learning can have in your algorithm. So we leverage a lot of our algorithms based on the predictive analytics that machine learning can bring. And today we have a product that has been inspired by a lot of the big real-world problems that we have in the world. And we've been inspired to transform all of the knowledge that people have in bringing solutions to people. Now, when I think about the phone that everybody has today, you think that the sum of all human knowledge can be accessed right now, but how do we do that? And so what we do at Declara is we're using algorithms and deep learning to be able to surface knowledge, insights, and experts from around the world to focus on solving problems. And so when I think about everybody in this room, you have the talent and the skills and the knowledge to be able to solve these problems. Now, if you download our app, now we can connect you to each other and other experts wherever you are so that you can solve global warming issues, community issues, helping people more effectively be able to work on stem cell research. And so today, I just feel like we are participating in a global world of learners and knowledge workers, and together we can solve these problems that we've been discussing today. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Our next category is IT hardware individual. The finalists are, and the winner is Yoichi Okai.
I'm really so surprised to get this award, and so my message is just one, and also the computer technology about the human user interfaces, about two-dimensional things like your smartphone, and also this screen, and also many videos. However, if it's gonna be like a 3D interface, like a holographic things, or computer can make something to move in the real world, or make the human to fly, or like these kind of the 3D manipulation of the real world gonna be change our recognition of the world, and also it's gonna be update our humanity in the next stage. It is like totally change our culture and so humanities. So thank you so much, and I'm 28 years old, so I'll continue this kind of the research 40 years. So thank you so much.